Hey, tree sprites. Let's talk about the correlation between ageism and capitalism. In the system of capitalism, unless you're in a high-ranking position, such as the head of a company, such as a CEO, or a government official or politician, capitalism typically devalues people of older age. And there are four primary reasons why this is. Across societies, capitalism has a long history of exploiting younger people in order to generate wealth and productivity. So the first reason for this is that younger people tend to be used as a cheaper source of labor. With less developed skill sets and with less experience in the workforce, younger people are often put in positions of settling for lower compensation for the work that they provide. Even young people coming out of educational institutions with degrees and certifications can still find themselves being hired for low-paying jobs or being overlooked for someone less qualified who can be paid even less, or for someone with more experience but with less certifications that can also be paid less. Aside from this, child labor is still rampant in the world. Children in these circumstances are paid very little, if not outright enslaved, for the labor that they perform. They are vulnerable and have little protections and are easily exploited. And this is something that continues to happen covertly in countries with child labor laws in place. People will often target children living in impoverished situations, and children are still being heavily trafficked for labor. And also, with the rapid development of technology, older people are frequently pushed out in order to save the time, money, and effort in teaching them to use newer systems and devices. The second reason is that younger people tend to be more impressionable and moldable. In both the areas of employment and marketing, younger people are frequently targeted with messaging and propaganda in order to shape their value system, points of motivation, and gratification. They are often influenced by commercial pop culture, are more likely to spend money on short-term trends, and are more easily formatted in order to fit a company's brand. Whereas older people tend to be less interested in what is popular and tend to have value systems that are less influenced by marketing. And that leads to the third reason, which is that older people tend to have more wisdom in their life experiences and tend to be much more aware of patterns and have a stronger sense of self, which many of us may refer to as stubbornness or being set in one's ways. While the open flexibility of youth is an asset, it can often be taken advantage of through manipulation of people who are more naive and less experienced in dealing with it. Younger people are often trained and expected to please those around them. They tend to take things more at face value and tend to believe the things that they are told, without having the experience of having to look deeper beneath the surface, and are often led into situations where they find themselves working in very unhealthy and toxic work environments because of their durability. In the workforce, younger people tend to be more able-bodied than older people. Therefore, corporations can keep them in harsher conditions for longer periods of time, and tend to bother much less with health concerns and hazards in the workplace, instead preferring to swap out older employees for younger employees in order to maintain the same working conditions and environment. Why improve the conditions when you can just replace your staff? And harsh, hazardous, and just unhealthy working conditions can often lead people to developing disabilities and health concerns. These people will often find themselves kicked to the curb once they are no longer viewed as a productive member of a company. And that leads us to the fourth reason, which is reproduction. People are expected to have children in their younger years in order for them to be more rapidly replaced. The system of capitalism is constantly looking to maintain a workforce between the approximate ages of 18 and 40 years old, and generally looks to maintain a turnover of new adults about every 20 years. Capitalism, in and of itself, is an unsustainable system and requires a constant flow of new energy to sustain itself, promoting the formation of young families in order to feed the machine. On the bright side, people have more and more been able to combat this system of parasitizing the youth through innovative entrepreneurship, where people are able to utilize their own creativity, individuality, and life experience. And this is another circumstance where creating a new reality depends on our own self-actualization and personal fulfillment.